Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Platinum versus Palladium. Who will win in this price war? My money is on Platinum, and we're going to explore some of the reasons why I am diversifying and investing a little bit into this metal. Platinum and palladium are quite interesting and fascinating metals indeed. Both are very rare. We're going to explore a little bit about the background behind these metals here from a publication from Sprott. Platinum and palladium are primarily used as industrial metals, but both have a strong correlation to gold and silver. Both are much rarer than gold and represents tinier markets. Recent world production of platinum and palladium has averaged about 175 and 200 tons per year, while gold production tallies approximately 3,000 tons per year. It's also known as white gold or the bright white metals. Platinum and palladium are members of the platinum group metals, which also includes ruthenium, rhodium, osmium, and iridium, which some of those metals, especially rhodium, osmium, and iridium, are even more rare, some of the rarest precious metals in the world. Their shared chemical origins give platinum and palladium similar characteristics, such as being inert and having high melting points. Appealing features for use as catalysts in industrial and automotive applications, although platinum is denser and stronger than palladium. If we can see here in these two maple leaves, this being the palladium maple leaf, and here is a platinum maple leaf. And we can see when we put these together here that palladium is a denser and smaller diameter coin than the palladium maple leaf there. Fascinating indeed. In fact, palladium is not as dense as gold either. It also has commanded a higher demand, and historically, platinum has. It's a preferred choice also for jewelry, which drives additional demand, and we'll talk about that later. South Africa is the largest producer of both metals and is responsible for 75% of the world's platinum output and 50% of its palladium. Russia is the second largest platinum producing country, but surpasses South Africa in palladium. Zimbabwe, Canada, and the U.S. round out the rest of the production for platinum group metals. And if you look at charts that measure the demand for platinum and palladium, we can see that platinum has about 40%, which is by most of the pie of autocatalytic conversion in the automotive industry. That's 40%. Almost getting close to that point is jewelry demand, 34%, and such as the case you see in this pure platinum ring here. Other industrial demand accounts for 22%. So really, the amount of industrial demand for platinum is about as much as palladium, but not quite when you count those two together. And in jewelry, only 4% of platinum is for investment purposes, such as you see here. Palladium, on the other hand, has a 75% usage in the automotive industry. 10% is in electronics, and there's not even a piece of the pie here that marks for investment demand, such as bars, coins, and rounds, such as you see before you here. The primary driver of demand for both metals is the automotive industry. Platinum and palladium are key elements in the manufacturing of catalytic converters, which helps reduce toxic emissions from automotive exhaust. Rising car production, especially in emerging economies, and tightening emission standards worldwide has fueled steady growth in the use of catalytic converters. Historically, platinum has been the much more expensive metal. However, over the past decade, demand for lower-cost palladium as an alternative has soared, and platinum demand has fallen. Although Palladium has been the bigger beneficiary of auto sector momentum and trends in recent years, the view is this dynamic may be changing in favor of platinum. Palladium is passing platinum on the road. Auto manufacturers use precious metals and catalytic converters because the platinum group metals catalyze these high temperature reactions without being consumed or chemically altered. Because they do not degrade easily, the platinum and palladium within catalytic converters can often be salvaged when a car has reached the end of its road. Over the past decade, as technology has improved, auto manufacturers discovered that gas-powered vehicles didn't require platinum's higher temperature stability to effect this chemical change. Instead, lower-cost palladium worked just as well for their needs. As a result of the price discount, palladium became the primary metal in the essential auto part, driving demand and ultimately price gains. Today, the automotive sector accounts for 75% of palladium demand, with its use surpassing 8.39 million ounces in 2017. With an 801,000 ounce deficit in 2017, palladium ironically finds itself trading at a premium to platinum. And of course, we know about Dieselgate, how it has hurt platinum because it was used in the diesel, and especially with Volkswagen. Although it does have other sectors and it has other uses, and it's starting to be used more prominently, platinum is, in many other industries, including glass making, and we mentioned jewelry, petrochemical and fertilizer manufacturing, and fuel cells. Palladium can often work interchangeably with platinum in the auto sector. It's not always the case for other industrial uses. In the electronics, chemical, and glass sectors, the needs for the metal become more complex. So these sectors are unable to substitute platinum with other metals, which means that platinum's industrial demand, which is expected to rise 3% in 2018 and probably has, is driven by the growth in the glass sectors. Platinum has become indispensable for the manufacturing of high-performance glass used in television sets, phones, and other types of smart glass, as well as optical fibers. The glass sector currently accounts for 17% of platinum's industrial use, and the demand appears poised for continued rise. But also, we need to look at sort of a surprise market, and that is jewelry in India. It's the fastest growing market. Platinum is also fairly robust demand within the jewelry sector. The World Platinum Investment Council evaluated this dynamic over the past 15 years, determining that platinum was trading primarily as a precious metal with an industrial demand from 2002 to 2005. Platinum has redefined as an industrial metal with a precious floor in the 8 years that followed. In 2013, another shift occurred in which platinum began trading as a precious metal with an industrial discount as it stands now. Platinum's use as a precious metal in jewelry is on the rise, particularly in India. Demand in this country increased 16% last year, albeit from a low base. Uptake of platinum in jewelry makes in regions like India and helping buffer the loss for the demand of additional platinum jewelry buyers in China and Japan. So that's something to keep in mind too, as well as a potential retooling, which we'll talk about here in a moment, between platinum and palladium. However, keep in mind, as we do explore that possibility of increased demand for platinum and jewelry in India, and that is that gold will continue to be the king in the East and Mid-East, in my view. Fuel cells. Fuel cell electric vehicles is something to keep in mind too. Platinum is also used as a catalyst to catalyze electric producing conversion of hydrogen and oxygen into water in hydrogen-based fuel cells, but not palladium. Increased use in electric vehicles also will increase, while fuel cell makers will look to reduce their amount they use in each fuel cell over time to reduce costs and minimum amounts to platinum required to fuel cell electric vehicles. It still multiplies higher than internal combustion engine automobiles. The number of fuel cell vehicles operating is expected to see rapid growth, with 1 million fuel cell electric vehicles on the road in China alone by 2030. That equates to over 7 million additional vehicles as a result of higher platinum usage between the two. But I don't know that will be, because that seems sort of a volatile technology, but we'll see how that plays out. Due to largely interchangeable use of platinum and palladium in non-diesel internal combustion engine cars, palladium took over much of the auto demand. Palladium, however, could soon become a victim of its own success since it's reached a price point that far surpasses palladium. It's trading well over above $1,000 on average in 2018. A decade ago, it wasn't unusual to see an ounce of palladium trade at a $1,000 discount to platinum. As we discussed, many of these things equal platinum and palladium perform interchangeably with non-diesel internal combustion engine autocatalysts. Historically, platinum's virtue was its lower price, as is such a question of whether the price of palladium has reached a point to where it could encourage manufacturers to switch back to the preferred metal, platinum. These are indication that this shift has already begun. There is something to consider with regards to that shift, and that is how much platinum and palladium is needed for those use as a catalyst. It's estimated that less than 5 grams are being used for that production and for the autocatalyst each, which means that the price difference between the two is negligible, which means that it will take maybe even a more dramatic shift or a continued rise of those prices for that shift to occur. So we'll see how that all plays out as time goes on. You know, retooling is something you have to think about too, the cost for that retooling to take place. One of the biggest reasons for palladium's rise in price is due to its demand and less supply over the years. If you look at a chart from 2015, we had somewhat of a supply. There's been a deficit for each year that has followed, and they project that it could increase by 2020, which makes platinum more attractive as a metal. But the automakers originally moved to palladium as a cheaper substitute for platinum. So why haven't automakers switched back to platinum in a grand scale, given that platinum is trading much lower than palladium? There's two possible explanations. Number one, there are manufacturing, engineering, and supply chain costs involved in changing the chemistry of autocatalytic converters from palladium back to platinum. Global economic and trade uncertainties are top of the mind for executives. They recognize that a global trade war breaks out, automotive sales could be significantly affected, which would likely ease the current palladium deficits and cause the price premium to evaporate. Number two, the market share of pure electric vehicles is small but continues to rise rapidly. November 2018, annual EV sales in China surpassed the 1 million mark and for the first time climbed 68% year over year. Over the same period, overall sales in China declined by 14% compared to November 2017. With all major automakers shifting focus from gasoline diesel-powered vehicles to EVs. And also, you also have to keep in mind that silver is going to play a huge role in that effect too. But by and large, I still believe that given the price of palladium compared to where platinum is now, that given all these circumstances, I believe that we are going to see platinum come out ahead and as a much more potential to go up in price, which is why I'm diversifying. And I do believe that retooling will eventually take place, if it hasn't already begun, to where platinum will be used as a internal combustion engine catalytic converter for gasoline engines to come. So post your thoughts below and what you think. I believe that the palladium is near at the top and of its price and will probably start to decline in price, or we'll see where it goes from here. But I do believe that platinum has much more room to climb in price. So that's why I'm kind of diversifying a bit with my platinum holdings this year to a point. But of course, my ultimate goal is to try to accumulate more gold. Post your thoughts below and what you think about where platinum is in relation to palladium. Like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe. Density. That's another reason why I think platinum is gonna rule the day. Density. It's more dense, thick, nice design, strong platinum. Strong indeed. Dense and strong. Like the density, strength, platinum. Dense, just like me, dense. Oh, look, dense. Look at how dense it is, dense. Dense, platinum, dense. Very, 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 very dense. Yeah. Now you know I like heavy metal.